With a voiceover setting the stage, we are introduced to the movie's protagonist Oliver, and we are informed that the story we're about to see will have no singing, no dancing, or a happy ending. The story begins with a thief named Tom breaking into a safe and stealing an envelope, but he is soon chased by the police, and a thrilling foot chase ensues, with Tom using parkour moves to evade the cops. However, Tom is eventually caught by a stranger who strangles him and takes the envelope. As Tom dies, a mysterious woman steals the envelope from his pocket and leaves the scene. Oliver, who is also the voiceover narrator, begins to tell his own life story, starting with a scene of him and his mother painting at the dinner table in their old house. Oliver paints a picture of an outing with his mother to an ice cream shop, while his mother creates a more professional-looking painting of the pair going to the circus. The movie then takes us to an art gallery, where Oliver and his mother are admiring a painting, and she teaches him to understand the intrinsic meaning behind art. And the story moves forward to a scene where Oliver attends his mother's funeral, feeling alone and disconnected, leading him to gather his materials and run away from home. And back in present day, as Oliver sleeps under a bench inside an art gallery, he's woken up by the security guard and chased away. Now he goes by the name of Twist and treats us to yet another parkour scene. On his way, Twist sees a traffic cop harassing a woman holding a child. He then sneaks towards the officer's van and spray paints an image on it, and as soon as the officer discovers what Twist has done, he starts chasing after him with other cops. And Twist manages to escape the authorities yet again and bumps into two thieves who were stealing bikes along the way. And these pair of artists track Twist down and give him back the spray cans he left behind while trying to escape the authorities. They introduce themselves as Dodge and Betsy, and right before we get to hear their collective name, a cop car arrives at the scene and Twist and the other two run away. Along their way, a mysterious individual helps them escape, and after successfully evading the authorities, Betsy and Dodge take Twist to their headquarters, which housed many criminals and all of the merch that they stole. They offer Twist some clothing, and after being hesitant because he didn't have any money, they give it to him for free. And Dodge then takes Twist to meet Fagin, the leader of the crime family. And after hearing about who Twist was and realizing that he had the assets to become part of the family, Fagin offers him a position. Twist refuses the offer and tells them that he wasn't a thief, only an idealist that aims to communicate his message through graffiti. After admiring a painting inside Fagin's room, Twist tells Dodge that he would eventually pay for the clothes and leaves. While he was on his way, Twist identifies the individual who helped him, and she reveals herself, at which point he is starstruck and lost for words. During the night, we see a comparative scene on how Twist and Fagin's organization spend their respective evenings. While Twist shriveled in the cold having nothing to eat, they enjoyed a family dinner that Fagin always insisted on doing because he always says that a family that eats together stays together. And in the morning, while Twist was busy painting, Fagin and his associates were admiring his art through binoculars. Fagin realizes that Twist was looking for love and decides to send Sandy to invite him to dinner at Fagin's place. And Nancy goes to the rooftop where Twist was living and she invites him to dinner at Fagin's house. And in the evening, Twist prepares for the dinner. Meanwhile, back at Fagin's house, Fagin and his associate Bill speak about Tom and the envelope he was sent to acquire. It is revealed that Tom, who was killed at the beginning of the movie, was apparently Fagin's associate. Bill had the envelope and leverages it for a partnership in a heist that Fagin was planning on executing. After both parties make a deal, she decides to keep the envelope to herself again as leverage. Twist arrives at Fagin's house with a bouquet of flowers, and Betsy opens the door and makes fun of him before inviting him in. And inside, the whole family, including Nancy and Fagin, have sat down in preparation for dinner. Fagin asks Twist to talk about what he was thankful for, since it was their tradition. After being thankful for the family dinner he was about to have, Fagin reveals to him that everyone at the table was an orphan and that he was always welcome. And after, they start having their meal. After dinner, Fagin and Twist have a conversation about art. Fagin tells him that he wanted Nancy to train with him, and then asks Twist what his real name is, and he starts calling him Oliver. And later, Fagin gives Oliver his own set of painting materials. And later that night, Twist, Betsy, Dodge, and Nancy go up on the roof to gather around a fire and talk about the morality of what they do. They tell Twist that Fagin was like Robin Hood and that they were his merry men. And in the morning, Nancy wakes Oliver to take him on a parkour adventure in the rain. The scene then cuts to a meeting inside Fagin's house where he is telling them about the new heist he had planned. The heist plan involved stealing art from Dr. Crispin's gallery, and he was an art dealer of the 18th century painters. Fagin shared the plan with the group, mentioning the need to acquire content on Dr. Crispin's phone as the first step. Nancy was assigned the task of bumping into Dr. Crispin and acquiring the data, while Oliver's speed and Betsy's hacking abilities were utilized to make the process go faster. And meanwhile, Nancy impresses Dr. Crispin and secures an internship at his gallery. The group successfully retrieves the data and returns Dr. Crispin's phone, and Betsy decrypts the data acquired from Dr. Crispin's phone, while the rest of them relax and have dinner. Fagin assigns Oliver the task of teaching Nancy about art, making her look convincing for the internship position. And during their outing, Oliver and Nancy share their stories about how they ended up as orphans, and Nancy impresses Oliver with her knowledge of art. And the next day, Fagin poses as a Russian businessman to acquire the plans for Dr. Crispin's gallery. The group uses the stolen plans to plan their heist, and during the meeting, Fagin reveals to the group that their target is one of 6 paintings by William Hogarth. Bill arrives at the house during their conversation, and Oliver and Nancy are introduced to him. That night, the group sets out to plant a small explosive device inside Crispin's bathroom, and Nancy approaches Dr. Crispin as he is leaving his house and manages to get invited back in his house for more than just an interview. And despite minor hiccups, the group successfully pulls off the heist and returns to Fagin's house. There, in an awkward scene, Bill tells the group that Nancy had plans and kisses her, and we discover that Bill and Nancy were actually in a relationship. And as Oliver sulks in a bar, 3 men approach him and reveal that Nancy belonged to Bill. And a fight scene ensues between the 3 men and Oliver's friends, and Nancy takes Oliver to the swimming pool, where they share a kiss and enjoy a romantic stroll in the evening. But the officer who followed Oliver after he vandalized his car finally catches up to him and he arrests him. While being interrogated, the officers reveal that they discovered Oliver's involvement with Fagin and Bill because he was spotted with Nancy, and she was a known associate of both individuals. Despite being warned about the danger of association with these people, Oliver chooses not to snitch and is released. And Nancy returns to Fagin's house, where the group awaits eagerly for her and Oliver. She tells them that she doesn't know where Oliver is. And meanwhile, Bill catches up to Oliver and takes him back to Fagin's house. Bill warns Oliver of the consequences he would face if he revealed their plans to steal the painting. And in the morning, the group along with Bill attempt to steal the painting by placing Oliver in a box and devising a way to insert him into a van that was transporting the target. After being successful, Oliver gets out of the crate and attempts to acquire the painting from inside the van. However, at that moment, Dr. Crispin realizes that he's being robbed, and he informs the drivers and tells them to look out for any signs. While the drivers realize that the road blockade that was arranged by the group was a setup, they escape the scene with speed, and Oliver falls out the back of the van without the painting. At this point, officers are informed and they surround Oliver and the others, and Bill tells them to run and he stays there to create a distraction. Bill starts fighting the officers and successfully knocks them out as the other members escape. And on his way back to Fagin's house, Oliver receives a text from the officers that interrogated him, showing him the picture of Bill leaving the scene of Tom's murder. And this really pisses him off, and he bursts into Fagin's house to confront him about the incident. And before Fagin could tell him anything, Bill barges in and starts beating up Oliver, saying that he was a snitch. And Nancy, concerned that Bill would kill Oliver, confesses that they were together that night Oliver got arrested. And this really pisses off Bill. And as a result, Bill orders Fagin to shoot Oliver if he tried to escape, and he takes Nancy somewhere else. And back in the living room, Oliver reveals to Fagin and Dodge that Bill was a killer and that she killed Betsy the same way she killed Tom. And in that moment, Bill barges in and tells the group that she did indeed kill Tom and she was willing to do anything for a job. And Fagin tells her that he would prepare another plan to steal the painting from the presumably impenetrable gallery in an attempt to stop her from killing any more of his children. And while Dodge and Oliver start executing the plans after 4 hours, they know that if they don't comply, Bill would murder Nancy the same way she murdered the rest of the group. And the new plan involved stealing the painting while it was on show for auction, and the group placed a gun inside Dr. Crispin's pockets. And during the auction, he accidentally pulls out the gun, creating chaos in the room. And the group successfully execute the heist while Oliver acquires the painting, and him and Dodge, who were impersonating an officer for the plan, escape the location. And meanwhile, we discover that Betsy wasn't really dead, but Bill had attempted to kill him. Fagin, the group, Bill, along with Nancy all gather on the roof, where Oliver tells Bill that the only way he was going to give her the painting was if she left Nancy, and after battering for a while, Fagin tells Bill to accept Oliver's terms and let them leave. And Bill seemed to comply at first, and she agreed to let Oliver and Nancy leave, but then turns around and shoots Fagin in the shoulders, telling him that she was the only one who was allowed to call the shots. At this moment, she catches up to Nancy and Oliver and points a gun towards Oliver in an attempt to kill him, but she is shot dead by Fagin and Bill drops to her death from the rooftops. And after some time had passed, Oliver provided the officers with information on the stolen painting, and he also revealed the location of a storage unit that contained artwork stolen by Dr. Crispin and his previous accomplice, Mr. Isaac, aka Fagin. And as a result, Dr. Crispin was arrested and Fagin disappeared without a trace. And meanwhile, Oliver's painting, a tribute to his mother, made it onto the art gallery and was valued at an extremely high price. And Oliver, aka Twist, was overjoyed to see his artwork displayed inside the gallery. And the movie concludes with Oliver, Nancy, Betsy, and Dodge enjoying a drink on the rooftop while discussing their future. They unanimously decide to abandon their thieving ways and earn a living by selling Oliver's artwork, which is now worth a fortune. And in the closing scenes of the movie, Oliver, over a voiceover, reminds the audience of his initial statement, but with a twist. He says that the story did in fact have a happy ending. And that is how the movie ends. I hope you guys liked our recap. I hope to see you guys on my next recap. Remember to leave a like and most of all, leave a comment because I love hearing from you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.